Hi, I'm Bob, and welcome to Between the Sheets, where we look at Microsoft Excel and related technologies. One of the great things about Excel is that it can interact with databases. Sometimes that happens dynamically in real time, and sometimes it's more manual and you need to import and export. The latter case is a simple way of using Excel with Airtable, an online database that I think works pretty well. If you've never used Airtable, I highly recommend it. It's meant for individuals and small and medium-sized businesses, and it has a free version and it has paid versions. Now, we could have a whole discussion of pros and cons between Airtable versus Microsoft Access or SQL Server or Azure, but that's a discussion for another day. Today, I just want to show you simple ways of sharing data between Airtable and Excel. So let's go take a look and see how it works. What I want to do is show you moving data in both directions. We're going to take this Excel sheet and move it up to Airtable, and then we're going to take an existing database in Airtable and bring it down into Excel. And let's just take a look at what we have here. Pretty typical sheet, order number, first name, last name, and so on. So this is great for putting in a database. Notice, of course, that row 5 has our column headers. Now this is kind of important. If I simply take this the way it is and I upload it to Airtable, Airtable is going to look for field names. And it's going to look at row 1 and look at row 2 and it isn't going to know what to do with them. And then the fields are going to end up as simply field 1, field 2, and it's going to be a mess. We want Airtable to see our fields as order number and first name and so on. So what I need to do is just delete these first 4 rows. So I'm just going to drag the mouse pointer down the row headers there so they're selected, right-click any one of them, and I choose delete. So now the first row is the column headers. Now this file is called orders, right? We saw that. I got to save it. So if this is your only copy, you might want to save it under a new name because you might not want to override all of those rows that we removed. I'm going to do a save as. The shortcut to save as is F12 in all the Microsoft Office, or I'm going to go to the File menu and do Save As. And this is already pointing to the desktop. So I'm going to call this orders for upload. And that's going to be the name that Airtable gets, but don't worry, it's going to be easy enough to change that once we get there. So I'm going to click Save. So let's go into Airtable. And here's what I have in Airtable. There's one existing base. We're going to look at that later. Right now I'm going to hit this plus to add a base. It says, okay, where do you want to get your data from? From Google Sheets, Excel, and so on. So I'm going to choose Excel. It says, okay, fine. I can drag a file in here, or I could hit the plus either way. So let me hit the plus. So here's my desktop. There's the original orders file. There's the one I just saved. So I'm going to double click that. And okay, there it is. And I hit upload. And it brings it in. And now you can see that it's grabbed the field names from row 5. Nothing really we need to do here. So I'm going to scroll down and hit import. And there we go. Now I can close this little pane over here, and I could do all kinds of things with it. You notice right now it's sorted alphabetically by last name. Maybe I want to sort it by order number instead, and I can do that. This little thing comes up so I can sort by multiple fields. This isn't a whole Airtable lesson. I just wanted you to see that we can bring it in. Mentioned before the file name. So right now, the file name is called Orders for Upload. That's kind of an unwieldy name. That XLSX is also part of the name. So I'm going to hit this little down arrow there, and now I can just edit that and just have it say Orders. And I'll click this little symbol here in the upper left, and there is my orders base. Okay, so let's now go in the opposite direction. Got this employees. So I'm just going to open that up. And we can see here, again, typical database kind of stuff. First name, last name, date, bonus, all kinds of stuff like that. So I want to take this and bring it into Excel. So you see we've got this menu up there, grid view. I'm going to click this down arrow and choose Download CSV. That's comma-separated values. This will not download directly into Excel, but that's okay because Excel recognizes CSV. I'm going to click that. So this is pointing to my desktop. It's asking for a name there. I'm going to call this Employee List. Click Save. And there it is. Now let's go into Excel. We're back in Excel. Now I can just open. So I can press Control-O or Command-O on the Mac, or go to the File tab and open, whichever way you like. I'm going to browse. Now, when I'm looking at the desktop, say, okay, here's those Excel files. Where the heck is that CSV that I just downloaded? Why is it not there? Because you see here in the lower right, it's looking just for Excel files. So I got to click that and choose CSV. Good luck finding it. This is not in any sort of order at all. There's that employee list. Double click it. And it says, hey, found that it's delimited somehow. That's fine. Go next. Well, it's not delimited by tabs, so I'm going to deselect that. It's delimited by commas. So I choose that, and now I can see it's all separated. And this is kind of important where it says treat consecutive delimiters as one. You usually want to check that. That means if for whatever reason there's 2 commas in a row or 3 commas in a row, it's going to ignore the extras so you don't have the columns all messed up. Go next, and I could choose maybe I don't want to import some of these fields, or I want to redefine what types of fields these are. I don't need to do that. I'm just going to click Finish. And there it is. Let's just expand this. I'm going to click this little blank button there and double click, stretch it out a little bit. So now we can read everything. Now you notice I've got this big yellow warning telling me that some features might be lost because this is not an Excel file yet. You notice up here, this is still the CSV. So let's say, for example, if I want to turn this into a table, I'll go here and format as table. And okay, so now I've got all this nice formatting. If I save this and close it, I'm going to lose all this nice formatting. So I need to save this as an Excel file. So I've got to go back to the File menu, do a Save As. And now this is still employee list. That's fine. But you see there it's showing me CSV. So I'm going to hit that down arrow, make sure it's Excel, and save. And now it's an Excel file, tells me it's saved. It's an XLSX, and we don't have that warning there. And now I'm good to go. So that is how you can take an Excel file and move it up to Airtable to use it as a database, and how you can take an existing Airtable database and bring it down to the desktop to use it in Excel. I hope you found this helpful.